Here you see all the parts laid out with all the straps, the thwarts, cross tubes, foot cups, so on. Levi's grabbing the two long straps, and those will lace the tubes in from the side. He figures out where the middle ones are. Then he comes up. Comes up through the bottom of the grommet and then up through the floor. And then down. Now he'll put the slider on. And puts it down tight. Through and back up. Now put that back through the side. And that's one half. You can see the whole boat is laced through that half. Now he begins the second half and does that the same way. He'll do both sides. He's got both ends now. Notice how he's flattening everything out before he tightens it. You want the strap tight, but you want the floor to remain flat. You don't want to bunch it all together. Next thing is to lace the pillow in. And where he'll start is from underneath. And again, it comes up through the floor right in the middle. And he puts a slider on. This is the one that comes up through the bottom. So the slider's underneath. Now, you'll notice the handles go to the inside. The handles are towards the inside, and there's a ground strip on the bottom. He's going to come up through the middle, so he comes up through the middle ground strip. Again, still tries not to pull too hard because he wants to keep the straps even. And the slider goes on, and he pulls the slider tight down to the bottom. And so he takes it down and through. squeeze it through that garment that already has a strap through it. So it comes up through the garment strip on the boat, up through the floor. There's already a strap through there. And then through the garment. Through this. Now we're on the outside of the boat with a strap, and I'm going to do this one. What happens with this one is through. Now this time he's got to go down through all that stuff. This one's a little, for me, is a little more difficult. You can see he goes through there, then through the garment strip. Always trying to keep the strap straight. Through the slider that he had put on there previously at the beginning. Tightening everything up. Again, make sure that you don't put any, tighten it up too much. Oh. Now we got the two sliders and the strap, and these are for there. And if you'll notice, it's putting the sliders on first. See how he has the sliders about that far apart. And there's the strap. Now he takes them, and right now he's getting them centered. And he's got the sliders pretty much right next to each other in the center of the strap. Okay. So he's going down through. If you notice the straps, the buckles are right in the center there. And he comes back up. He'll go down through on both sides. One thing I want you to notice is he came up through that, and then good. Now he'll go by through the other way. Now, make sure everything's nice and flat. And it comes through. Grommets and pulls the, see how the sliders move back to the grommets. Everything's nice and tight. Comes down through. There we go. Now, just got to make sure everything stays kind of tight. Now it does the other side. Very good. And everything is done.
So one of the big issues on this boat for performance is how well this strap is tied down between the main tube and the cross tube. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But before you blow this all the way up tight, this main tube all the way up tight, make sure that this D-ring on the cross tube is pointing downward. And then what you do is you take this cam buckle, you put it in upside down through here, and then through the D-ring on the cross tube, then just lightly put it together. Okay, that's good for now.
So now Jack's topping off the tubes.
Now remember, the D-ring is pointed downward on the cross tube, so it's pointing that direction. The D-ring on the main tube is pointing up, and we got the cam buckle right next to the D-ring on the main tube. So before this is inflated, what we're going to do is we're going to snug this up really as tight as we can get it. What makes this work? What makes this really stable and sturdy? And it's hard to imagine how this might work because this tube is so far up on the main tube. But what you have done with this system is you have made a yoke frame. Okay, anyway, it goes from the very bottom of the D-ring on the inside of the main tube all the way up to the top of this cross tube. Anyway, on the front foot brace, think of it like this. If we tie this through the front grommet strap that you tied to the floor and the cross tube, then this can move up and you can make this just as comfortable as you like for your feet. Your foot goes underneath that one. If you're using it for a back foot brace, you can tie it back here, you can tie it right here, or you can tie it right here. So, the idea then, is to have something sort of like this, only as comfortable as you'd like. Remember, this is tied in this way to the front, and this is tied to the grommet strips in the back, wherever it feels comfortable. This way you can wedge yourself in really, really tight with the paddle. Feature I'd like to talk to you about, and that is these loose straps. So it's a good idea to keep these loose. You can tie something on the bottom of this if you want to make it easier to grab onto, but don't tie anything into that makes a loop that you can get your hand or your foot caught in. Another thing you can do is you can put a cam strap on the end of this right here, as long as you make the cam nice and tight against the grommet, and leave the strap hanging down, and that's another place that you can catch yourself or swim over to your boat and grab a hold of it. So those are great safety ideas, great ways to catch your boat. Thank you very much for watching. We appreciate your business.